Alright, what's up, everybody? What's up? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, everyone? How's it doing? It is really nice to be here once again. It's always, every day above ground is a wonderful one. Yes, it is. And today, man, this week has been long. Even after the holiday, like on Monday. It's so super long. It feels like it's been forever since I've like felt freedom. But aside from that, yeah, today this week was pretty eventful, at least in a sense. Um, Trying to think of what happened. Oh yes, is what's it called? We're gonna be seeing a lot more of Ashley Graydon. He's gonna be showing up more. I'm wondering exactly how far I am into this. Because I feel like from the looks of it, I might almost be done with the trial, but at the same time, not quite. But I will have to see what this is like. I think aside from just everything that's happened, like, I committed a fly massacre in a few days. The flies are trying to hoard me. Oh no. I feel like that happens way too often in just like huge, just kind of bursts where like it's never like there's only like a couple like flies. It's always like when it rains it pours. So like sometimes when they're just getting a ton of flies, like a lot of them just show up on the floor, just like little like barely flying little like kind of like pill bugs almost. It's so miserable. Yeah. It's a pretty rough time. I know because guinea pigs kind of have it quite a bit. We usually leave our like kind of like patio open for like the cat, so that's usually how they start coming in. So our cat winds up having to hunt quite a few of them. But on top of that, yeah, yeah, not too much. Actually, not too much happened this week. If all truth be told, the most that happened was, I guess, like after work today, I pretty much just like I showed Amana what You're the Man Now Dog was, which is like this really ancient site where they just replay like GIFs or replay sound bites. And it's just like the fun, I guess not the funniest shit because none of it aged well, but it was a good time. Um, I'm trying to think of what else because I feel like I'm pretty kind of my mind blank at the moment. I think I'm gonna actually get started on my stream. So I'm gonna get everything kind of set up. Turn this bad boy off. Turn these bad boys on. Let's open up some windows. Here we go. Yes. Let's see. What does our load game look like? Because I think we're continuing. We are on part 4. That old Bailey. Sorry, let me stand up a moment. Alright, so let's look into what's in this box. So, this is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited in the pawnbroker by Mr. McGilded 2 months ago. And on the night of Mr. Windibank's murder, the only item on the shelves that was touched by whoever broke into the shop.
Quick, quick! Let's open and see what's inside.
Ah, gears. Good gracious. This is no ordinary box, it seems. Wow. Although in truth, I had an inkling it might be the case. It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement. Then, is it too much to expect? I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is the device for the playback of this disc, my lord. So here we have a means to play back Mr. McGilded's disc.
deposited at Windibanks at much the same time.
Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilded's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus.
But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to Mr. McGilded?
Your Honor, I believe that's his mixtape. He kept passing it around in college. He insisted that the beats were fresh and dope, but really, it was just whatever he could make on Fruity Loops. I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord.
Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to the curious disc at last.
Wait, my lord.
Good grief, what is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The music box and the disc are, well, they're unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the court with some silly bit of music.
This disc may very well be motivated by the culprit, in this case, to commit murder. Clearly, there's every chance that it's fundamentally important to understand what happened. The prosecution has no objection.
But no, that piece of evidence is police property.
Clearly, Scotland Yard has some vested interest here. But it is the policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening.
Rawr!
No further delays, please. Play the disc.
Ooh, this is Morse code.
What on earth? That's certainly not what I would call music.
Well, you clearly haven't listened to SoundCloud. This shit would fuck on SoundCloud. No. It's just the same note playing over and over again in irregular sequence. Again, this would kill on SoundCloud.
Mr. Graydon.
This really is priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom.
Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept that this music box offers little in the way of clues. Are you ready to move on, counsel?
Come on. Yes, alright. It does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music be emanating from the music box possibly be a new clue? I think it is. That sounds like Morse code. I believe it could be relevant, my lord.
Good lord, but how can that be? It's an abomination, counsel. Mere noise. I fail to see how any of it makes any meaning whatsoever.
It does sound strange, I agree. But there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there chortling victoriously, the inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow. And that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my Japanese friend, answer me this. Yo! Can you rap over this beat? I heard Japanese rap is not as good as American rap, or grime music that comes from my place. You know Skepta, right? Shut down. Fashion Week and it's shut down. You see, that's better than anything from your glorious nation. Just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has on this case? Oh, thank you so much, Izzy. Thank you. It's the defense's belief that the sound emanating from this music box is... I don't think it's supposed to be music. Just because this is a music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's flush and plump lips, just as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here. I must be.
Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Runo.
Objection!
The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well now, but you've told us what they're not. I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Japanese friend. Surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be the death of your ill-informed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that is pure foolishness. They got me. I don't know what the answer is. Yet.
Runo? I just examined the music box very thoroughly. And I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all.
Really?
Really. The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway.
Thank you, Iris. Man, that would have been very important to say out loud. Alright. Well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean the sounds it's producing have some significance that isn't music. Ah. Could it be? Is that what these sounds are?
Something just struck me, Runo. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like this one the music box makes.
Yes, it is a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing.
I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by the music box is not music at all, then what the devil is it, counsel?
All the evidence we've seen so far, all of the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now. The prosecution demands that my learned Japanese friend presents proof. Now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation. Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. And if I'm right, it's gonna join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of this music box disc is... I killed its taste. Let's see what this is.
Pawnbroker perishes in pig purse plunder? How awful. Virginia, I mean.
But tomorrow's headline will be Discharged Driver is Dauntless Do-Gooder, right?
Yeah, something like that. If possible, I'd like to even go bigger.
Bigger? How?
Proud pickpocket protects planet post-trial. Perhaps.
Protects planet.
Oh, I can't wait for tomorrow now. It's gonna be so great. There's a sensational story lower down the front page as well. Ministry Mole, classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice.
For a 10-year-old? Iris certainly has her finger on the pulse of the world news.
It's about secret communications between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently they're being intercepted by hostile nations.
Communications are being intercepted. But how would somebody be doing that?
That's the question, isn't it? I've come up with 3 different possible methods so far. Are you looking for a new career, Runo?
No, of course not. I wonder. Perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday.
Yes, it could be. It could explain why he has Grexy running from pillar to post at the moment.
About government secrets. Sorry, I gotta go to the bathroom a sec. I will be right back. It won't be too long. Alright. Man, I had to stay hydrated, but in turn, it made it very difficult. Let's see. Today's paper. I think this would be really good.
Today's paper, Council. The headline is Pawnbroker Perishes in Pickpurse Plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause.
No, my lord. I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page.
Further down. Ministry Mole classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter. Being investigated at the highest level, I understand.
I have heard that international transmissions along supposed secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. And presumably, the transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams, right? Of course. Jar number 5, your input, please.
Stop! Oh! Me, sir? Whatever's the matter?
You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not?
Yes, that's correct.
And the particular station where you work deals with government communications and news reports, right?
Oh, yes. We're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important.
Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound?
You don't mean to say, is it?
That's right, madam. It bears more in passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code?
But I don't believe it.
Now correct me if I'm wrong, But when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer.
Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code?
Oh my.
Order, order, please, everyone, order. But this is high treason, Council, deserving of capital punishment.
Too much new vocabulary. What is this treason? What is capital punishment?
The sort of words I'd half expect you to know.
From our southern governments, confidential information, hostile nations would surely pay almost any price.
Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, it was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus.
But in the end, McGilded perished, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery.
My word.
In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry. Because if that disc were to be discovered before it was found on its way out of the country,
it would reveal an act of high treason, punishable by death.
So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it. In order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of night. Because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon?
You think I've been stealing government secrets?
Preposterous! Absolutely preposterous!
So, in response to defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you?
Well, of course I do. I've had to stand in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away.
Objection!
He may be a foreign lawyer, but he's my foreign lawyer. Then by all means, count the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense.
Delighted, I'm sure.
The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Winterbank. That being the most flagitious offense for which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us...
You gotta let us have a rabbit and pork here, Governor. We've got things to say.
I beg your pardon. Who do you think you are?
Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is professional body.
Name's Ringo Skulkin. We ain't baddies enough to sell you out to the motherland.
Oh man, the Motherlands. Get some good lore here, yes.
That's right. We're what we call the Three Skulkin Brothers.
Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing.
A mere communications officer couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway, was it not? I've no relation to that man.
Look, all we done is break into the gaff the other night, like what we had told us to do.
If we had known he was a dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it.
Oh man. I guess the brothers really came out and were like, man, if I knew that this guy was trying to steal government secrets, I wouldn't have done that fucking shit.
Mr. Skulkin,
Well, Mr. Do-Governor, what's up?
do I take it that you now admit to the crime? That on the night in question you did indeed gain entry into the premises illegally? And moreover, you did so as a party of 3 in collaboration with Mr. Graydon here?
We did, Gov! We did!
Quiet down, please. What say you to that, Mr. Graydon?
I have no idea what these 2 ruffians are referring to.
You little rotter, getting us mixed up in all this monkey business. You never said nothing about no government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight up job.
And what about the geezer whose shop that was, eh? Poor old bloke didn't have to die, did he?
Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations.
Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit into the courtroom as court record as evidence.
The small music box has been entered in as evidence. Alright, let's press that first statement.
Hold it!
So is this newspaper headline accurate? Government communications are being intercepted? Have you played Ace Attorney 6? I haven't played it yet. I've only played the first Ace Attorney. So it's definitely something where I'm going to be working my way from, like, I guess once I'm done with the Great Ace Attorney, I'm going to start kind of working from the bottom up and start just playing through a lot of them. Mostly just kind of getting through what I missed out on, but also replaying the first Ace Attorney as well. How could I possibly know? What did you mean by that? Any important government communications are handled by high-level officers, by specialists. General members of the staff of the station where I work would never be entrusted with sensitive information. Oh no, stop! I must say something, stop! Let me guess. Juror number 5. Regular communication staff officers aren't as lowly as you're being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up testing of the telegraphs used by the ministry. Drawing an Ace Attorney 6 in a bunny suit. No, people hate it because people think he's a prick. I'm sure it'll be really fun. And Mr. Graydon here is the team leader. That's fascinating. Graydon is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in the presence of idle. Stop. Man, in your gushing, you ended up snitching on this dude. Oh, sorry, I missed that. Let's see. X is the... Wait, what is the X button? That is square. Come on. Oh, no. Back. Oh, wait, no. Back. Sure, 5 Slashy thinks he's humble. Well, what of it? The transmissions are always made behind closed doors, so they can't be heard. She thinks he's like just being humble about it. Just like, oh, don't be bashful, you're amazing. And it's like, don't sell myself short. I'm trying to get off of this. And in any case, all messages are sent enciphered. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand them.
Oh no, stop. I must say something, stop. Mr. Graydon regularly attends meetings in Ministry Technicians and Ministry Communications team. He assists them in ensuring that there are no errors in the information, important international communications. And he's received a top prize at the Cipher Cracking Convention 5 years in a row now.
That's fascinating.
Graydon is a highly skilled operator, stop, currently in the presence of Idol, stop.
Well, your idol would appreciate it if you kept your yapper shut. She should really pick her idols more carefully. I tell you that this lawyer's accusations are completely unfounded. Sounds produced aren't even Morse code, then what is it? If your idol would appreciate it if you kept your mouth shut. I just swooned. Oh, no. They're not? To anyone with a brain, that would be blatantly apparent on listening to the music box for even a few seconds. Of course, of course. Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. Oh, he's looking genuinely shocked at my ignorance. Ha ha ha.
It would be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir.
Listen, you're in court?
Morse code is a continuous series of 2 distinct tones.
Tones, you say?
Yes, a short dot and a large dash. By combining those two in different ways, you construct letters.
I see.
For example, this is an A. And this is a B. If you listen to the sound produced by the music box, you only hear one tone, don't you?
But it sounds so similar. The rhyme of it is the same in everything. But there's no discernible meaning to this apparent random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code. No! Really? You shouldn't be surprised. What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in future. Stop. Nothing more to say, but stop.
Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it?
Iris.
I mean, if the government secrets were somehow being leaked using the music box, so many other things would slot into place so nicely.
Could there still be something I haven't considered? Would it be impossible to use this to somehow play back Morse code? Let's see. Give it a try. I suppose, yeah. Let's give it a shot. There's still every possibility that this music box was instrumental in leaking of government secrets. That's the belief of the defense, at least. Does it please you in some way, my Japanese friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? Infinitum. It's already been established that to be Morse code, 2 tones are required. Dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what? Well, it would appear the defense is a hypothesis to put forward.
You had better present your idea at once, Council. How do you propose that the music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have been used to decipher secret messages into Morse code?
Let's see. Oh, look at this guy. That could have been it. Oh,
What is it, Runo?
I've just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the bottom of it opens up as well.
Ah, you're right. Well, come on then, what are you waiting for? Let's open up.
Alright then. Here goes. Look at that!
Look at that, there's another movement on the underside.
So, does that mean you can set another disc to play back on this side?
Yes, I think so. And it looks like the two movements are linked together.
They're linked. So if you had two discs, they would both play back at the same time.
Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement on the underside of the music box.
What? It appears, my lord, that the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in the music box, and the sounds of both will play back at the same time.
Good heavens!
As the court has heard, Morse code comprises of two tones, a short dot and a long dash. With a second disc in place, this music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry. This poor excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claim. Though, of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with the second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And I may remind the court that, as the witness has pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus with McGilded 2 months ago striking the deal over the disc or discs.
Indeed, it was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker, the thrice-fired wonder himself.
Exactly! I had nothing whatsoever to do with it.
Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe a cross-examination should continue.
The link between Graydon and the victim of the omnibus case must be in there somewhere. But I haven't found it yet.
Oh dear. It looks like you might give your argument more strength, Runo.
You will reiterate your testimony, if you please, Mr. Graydon.
If I must, though I may maintain exactly what I did at the start of this pointless cross-examination. Let's see. Pursuit Nash Skulkin.
Hold it!
Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean?
That's it, yeah. Well said. Silly me though. Thought we was popping over for a natter after all them years, but the rotter had a dodgy job for us. Ain't us?
Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say? Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours?
Well, the sociable kind of baddies, you know. Surely, they say Graydon's an old China.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin?
Oh?
No, the other Mr. Skulkin.
Oh, what? Oh, me?
When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react.
Oh, I was just remembering the old days is all. We used to have a right old laugh together all the way back when.
Together? With Mr. Graydon, you mean?
Yeah, with Ash, I mean. You look at him now and he's fancy, whistle and flute and all, and you wouldn't have an either. But when he was younger, he was from an old pole part of a town just like us.
Is that so?
And we was always the learning one. He had the brains and we had the savvy. He always coming up with smart ideas, like what would ever have gone through our heads.
God blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Middleton and Skulkin's milk run? That was a corker, eh?
Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in the courtroom. And neither does your fruit.
Oi,
Aye, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And we was answering.
yeah, we ain't nothing new wrong.
Man, not Van Zeek's hating on their fruit. Their snacks are very good and worthwhile. At least they're eating healthy.
Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on this trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please?
I don't know. Could that sentimental story be relevant somehow? Yes. My lord,
Yes, counsel?
the brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to this case.
Very well, counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add.
Say no more.
The Skulkin's never skulking.
Belvedere Skulkin's milk run.
God blimey, those were the days.
Yeah,
Hold it!
I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business?
Just a little scheme we had going back when we was youngsters. A bit of fun, really.
Delivering fresh milk to the locals. That's what it was after all.
That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate. But on what? The business name. Let's see what that business name is about. Ask how it works. Let's see what the business is like. Let's start from there. Thank you so much, Izzy. Yeah, extra dialogue, extra flavor text. So, how did your little business work again?
Well, every morning down our way, the milkman would come with a cart to deliver milk, see? If you stuck your empties outside your front doors, he would leave you them full again, right?
So, we swooped in on the action, got people to sign up with us. We promised to deliver milk for half the price of the other geezers doing it. People couldn't wait to sign on the dotted line. We were raking it in, we were.
So, did you live on a dairy farm or something?
Go on, Bennett, you off your rocker? We had nothing. We were too poor to have a farm.
Right.
Nah, what we had going was simple once you had the idea. We just switch them over, see? Our customers' empties with the full ones for anyone who wasn't in our books. Ain't a doddle, right?
I think you meant to say a diddle. And that's a crime.
It was just a harmless bit of fun, that's all.
Milking the general public in such a fashion is certainly not harmless, as you put it.
Not the way I do it.
You're not the way I do it either.
Well, it was him what came up with the idea. Ash is the evil genius.
You mean Mr. Graydon?
Yeah, Ash always had in the book when he was growing up. Said he was going to get himself an education and get out of the slums we lived in.
Carl, we all ragged him about that, didn't we? Told him he was soft in the head to even think it. But look at him now. He's gone and become a blinking commission officer, ain't he?
A communications officer, Mr. Skulkin.
Sholmes and Wilson's milk run.
No, Iris! Don't even think about it! All of a sudden, we seem to be up in our necks in serious matters of national security. Although all this talk about interception of secret government services is just conjecture at this stage.
It would explain a number of things though, wouldn't it? The negotiations Ginny overheard in the omnibus 2 months ago and the break-in at Windibank's. But the trouble is, wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus with the Gilded?
No, that was Mr. Mason. The Windibank dude who was murdered.
If only there was some link between the two men somehow.
I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. I wonder if the key to us making headway with this cross-examination here could be those two brothers. Let's see, let's press that last little bit. Milverton Skulkin's Milk Run.
Hold it!
It would be the business name. Let's see. What Ash Lord did you miss? Oh, it was what's it called? It was just the part where they were talking about how Ashley came up with the idea to steal milk from people and then resell it. That was it called. The business was a bit of fun, but it was also just a way for them to resell milk to people. So this business was a bit of fun, you say? And it was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved?
Yeah, that's it.
Milverton and Skulkin's Milk Run, was it?
Yeah, that's it.
And where did the Milverton part come from?
Alright. I thought a clegg of cogs like you'd had it worked out.
Enough of this! How much longer we expect to listen to this? Let me guess. You won't accept anything these two witnesses are saying, correct? Tell me, why is it that it's only at the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Yeah, he's holding it in. Because well,
We weren't the happiest of homes that one came from.
Yeah, his old man was struggling for money so much his wife walked out on him.
She took the name Graydon then, see?
But that should always be Milverton to us.
Milverton. So that used to be your surname, didn't it? Of course not! This is all bunkum. It has been Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on testimony from two thieves? You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been thoroughly checked by the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena your records, Mr. Graydon.
Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mr. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable, for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then? Is that correct?
Very well, yes. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. How many ideas in his backstory? I imagine it would be the situation where, like, maybe out of, like, maybe to change a new life, he decided to take on the Graydon name, and that Milverton was, like, his, like, original one. And that he just had it legally changed so he'd be able to live a new double life. That information could change things, and could turn out to be extremely important. Let's see, what else is there? A brick maker, no relation. Let's see. Let's see our info. The Gilded Case Notes. Let's look into that. Mason Milverton! Whoa! Whoa, brother! Whoa, my! Holy! Holy! Damn, thrice fired Mason! Thrice fired Mason was related to Ashley! Surprise board testimony resulted in acquittal. Holy! Holy!
Objection!
Mr. Ashley Milverton. Thrice fired. Thrice fucking Mason. That's so off. That's so cursed. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name.
Explain yourself, please, counsel.
I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. And as we all know, the victim, the man who we now understand to have been negotiating with McGilded.
Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker.
That's right. Only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton.
Milverton? Do you mean to say? Saints alive!
Mr. Ashley Milverton, is it not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father?
I don't...
As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you join the civil service. And it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. The Reeves is dead naming Ashley. The fact that dead naming is a canonical part of this case. For shame, Ryu. Ugh. The truth is, you've been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it on McGilded in collaboration with your father. Ah! Ah. The new facts and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? That you collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded.
By dint of this music box, you mean, counsel?
Yes. Stealing information being sent in by secret government communications and selling it on to McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted the scheme of using 2 music boxes to encode the information, as presumably a safety net against the information falling into the wrong hands.
And a very effective one. I shouldn't have given the scheme any credence whatsoever.
But a deal with McGilded went sour and the brickmaker met his end. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at the pawnbroker. Then, having learned of the situation, you appeared at Windibanks 2 days ago, in an attempt to recover the 2 articles McGilded had placed in pawn here. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the police and the other never found. You enlisted with the help of the Skulkin brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. This time, determined to recover the second disc.
Are you suggesting the second disc was inside the music box?
Ah!
We never knew nothing about that.
On the night that Mr. Windibank was killed, the intruder to the pawnbrokery touched one item, and one item alone, the music box.
As rather ingeniously demonstrated using the 2 prints from the security camera, indeed.
So, the question that naturally begs to answer this is this. Why was only that one article distributed? The answer is obvious. Because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since, if it were to fall into the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that any of this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago? I refuse to accept any of this nonsense. Sir, there appears to be blood seeping through the sleeve of your jacket. What? Ah! 2 nights ago, we know that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime at the Windibanks pawnbrokery. One took the life of the pawnbroker himself. One struck the pouch around Mr. Shome's waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar in the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm seems to be trying to hide. It's a bullet wound, isn't it? He got you now, me old China.
Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon.
Don't acknowledge my presence there under any circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember? And I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly, I was a fool to think I could trust some common back slum thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there in Windibanks that night. I paid a pair 10 guineas to accompany me. And as you've noticed, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. He forgot his roots. He forgot where he came from. But that is all. I admit to nothing more. Stealing government secrets, negotiating with Mr. McGilded. As God is my witness, I'm sure I recall nothing of the sort. He's not gonna go down without a fight. Not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact. Which is... well, we know that one bullet was fired from each of the 2 firearms we have in evidence. The bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun hit the pouch around Mr. Shom's waist. And the bullet from Mr. Windibank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon on the arm.
Indeed it must. We can rule out the possibility that the man shot himself.
And that leads us to only one conclusion. Mr. Windibank was shot by a 3rd gun, which can only have been fired by a 3rd intruder.
Goodness!
That's right, Mr. Graydon. The one person, the only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibank that night is you.
Hold it!
You little upstart. You made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. What? What's that supposed to mean? It's such a gay voice. Yes, as you rightfully say, I was there at the pawnbroker's. I did my best to hide the fact, naturally. I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career I had built for myself at the communications station. But did the thought never cross your mind? Did you never consider the possibility? What do you mean? What thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment. You see, this makes a key witness in this case none other than myself, and I have my hands thoroughly firmly around that neck of your client.
What? Are you suggesting?
I saw it all. I saw the very moment that pickpocket girl pointed the gun at that poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. You what?
Order, order, order. Well, it would seem we are finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial.
Mr. Graydon. Yes? I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. That reverse Uno card of yours, if it's shown that your claim is false, you will have incriminated yourself as a killer. Oh, I understand fully.
Then I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more. You will explain to the court precisely what you saw the moment the defendant shot the victim.
Nothing would give me greater pleasure. Oh damn, this dude really thought it through. Or at least like in the last minute found one little tiny thread that he could prod at. Oh, that's clever. While these ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Mr. Windibank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shot himself in the storeroom. I could see him through that peephole in the door, though. The accused, in a black coat, shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood spatter all over that wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun out the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. Why would you steal the gun?
Good gracious, this is quite extraordinary testimony. You claim, sir, under oath, that you've clearly seen the defendant pulling the trigger. Order, order, order.
It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither is my intention to be found guilty for a murder I did not commit. So you see, my hand has been forced. I'll tell you the truth now as an act of self-preservation. The perjury stuff is treated differently between the Skullkins and Ash versus Gina. The Skullkins Ash is like, oh, you get one chance, just don't lie. But Gina's, you are going to die, you hellspawn. Yeah. It's definitely something where, like, Gina was like, you know you're going to be locked up for this. You know perjury is bad. And then for the Skullkins and him, it's just like, oh, just make sure you try not to lie once again. It's very much a slap on the wrist. The truth. Until now, the prosecution was clearly completely unaware of these details.
Yes, well, sorry about that.
Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was shot in the back by the accused. And as I said, she was showered in his blood. You say the blood spattered over the accused's coat. Are you sure of that point? Oh yes, quite sure. All over the black overcoat that pickpocket girl was wearing at the time.
Really? If a coat would somehow be shown not to harbor vestiges of blood, that would be conclusive evidence here.
Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. I toast my glorified little sippy cup in your honor. What? Only very recently, a German science has developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's to true science, not some amateurish detective's dubious foray into the world of chemistry.
There's nothing dubious about Hurley's work. His ideas are all sound.
Ideas are no use for us here. In science, as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as the basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical reagent used, with your lordship's permission. We could shatter all of the vestiges of doubt within minutes.
This doesn't look good, Reno.
Why not?
Well, we know, don't we? There's blood all over the front of Gina's jacket. If they test it with their chemicals...
Oh, help. You're right. I was forgetting what happened yesterday. Don't move, I'm gonna shoot. Oh man. Gina's a Danganronpa murderer. It's not Mr. Windibank's blood, that stains from 2 months ago. That's Mr. Mason's blood, from when he was stabbed by McGilded, who was wearing the coat at the time. My lord, the defense objects to the test proposed by the prosecution.
Overruled. Lord Van Seeks, make it so at once.
With pleasure, my lord.
And while we wait the results, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination.
Ashley feels that soaked in his dad's blood and how Gina's currently wearing it. I imagine maybe that's also why he tried to steal the coat back, because I feel like that was also something he was trying to steal. Once they find that blood in the overcoat, Gina will be...
Counsel,
Yes, my lord.
your cross-examination.
Of course, my lord. This cross-examination doesn't go well. If I don't manage to uncover some decisive evidence, or a really compelling clue right now, I have a very bad feeling about the outcome of this trial. I just keep pressing. Just keep pressing.
Hold it!
Mr. Windibank emerged from the storeroom, I believe. Ringo and Nash was scouring the counter when he suddenly appeared and flew at them. He already had the revolver in his hand. Fortunately, I wasn't too close.
I've never been so scared in my life.
Yeah, we're just regular, mild-mannered burglars is all. We don't like violence.
Says the pair who carry a gun. What do you mean when you say you were near the entrance of the shop? I was in the doorway, running my eyes over the shelves of forfeited items. Looking for the music box, of course. The broker went for Nash in the first place, then Ringo joined in, making it 2 against 1, so I assumed they could have handled the situation. But I was wrong.
I was trying to help me little bruv, but the old geezer chucked me in the bloomin' counter.
So I pulled my gun on the old fella, and that's as soon as I made him scarper.
The pair of you setting upon the poor defenseless pawnbroker together? Shame on you.
Sorry, Gov.
Windibank threw Nash their shots.
Hold it!
You mean the moment you were shot? Yes, though I didn't immediately realize what had happened, of course. Things crushed on the floor and the counter as the 3 men were brawling. It was exactly at that moment that it happened, so I didn't hear the gunshot. And the bullet went on strike on the calendar in the wall behind you. So it would appear. When I looked at my arm and saw it bleeding badly, I wrapped it in a handkerchief around. Seeing as I couldn't explain what had happened to the doctor, I had no choice but to wait for it to heal. I didn't imagine it would be bleeding 2 days later. Did Mr. Windibank intend to shoot you, do you think? Well now, I don't imagine he even noticed I was there, to be honest. Perhaps the gun went off accidentally. Anyway, I didn't quite strike home.
When I pulled my gun on him, he tried to shove me out the way.
And then he scarpered through the door back.
At which point, what did you do?
Pursued.
Hold it!
You mean you chased after him? I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. And what about this peephole in the door you mentioned?
Well, unsurprisingly, the storefront door is a solid job, made of stout wood. But there's a small opening about a head height that lets you see through what was in there from the outside.
Actually, I should know that, shouldn't I? I looked through it myself that night. And what about you, burgling brothers? What did you see when you went through this peephole as well?
Not likely, Gov.
Didn't see nothing of the sort, Gov.
I doubt these 2 buffoons were even aware of this peephole's existence. So the Skulkin brothers were there, but they didn't see the killing of Mr. Windibank take place? Inside the storefront, I could see the broker and that young girl standing there.
The defendant?
Yes, though neither of them noticed that I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed it straight at the man.
And then, what did you see next?
The accused in the black coat shot the man.
Hold it!
Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defendant was found with a gun in her hand. But that was Mr. Windibank's gun, for which only a single gun had been fired. A single bullet had been fired. And as we've already established, Mr. Graydon, that bullet was fired at you. Ah, but no. It wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Yes, the bullet from Windibank's gun grazed my arm, and yes, the Skulkin's gun grounded and affected. But this was another gun entirely, a third gun. The broker's gun was not the murder weapon, so clearly there had to be a third firearm involved. In other words, the accused must have had her own gun with her at the time.
Objection!
But no other gun was found at the scene. Grazed, the bullet went straight through his bicep, grazed deep through his muscle. Calm yourself, counsel. Sorry. You must consider the events in order. At first, I saw the broker and the girl glancing at each other. Then all of a sudden, the broker turned to run. And it was at that moment that the little gutter rat shot him in the back.
A chilling image, I must say.
Hold it!
All over her? Yes, through the peephole I saw it clearly. Of course, the stains are invisible now. What with the coat being such a dark color. But I assure you, that garment is sullied with the victim's blood. Well, it was sullied with blood, that's for sure.
But it's not Windibank's blood, is it?
No, that's right. It was Mason Milverton's blood from when Mr. McGilded stabbed him 2 months ago.
So annoying. They only accepted Hurley's chemical analysis. We could prove it.
And you were actually done a blood loss before you could spell subpoena. Before you could spell subpoena. He could be subpoenaed. It's like spelled subpoena. It's so wild when you like kind of verbalize it. Being sent out a subpoena. In AU where like, what's it called? Everyone's just like, oh yeah, we have no way of being able to tell who did this. But they won't, so unfortunately we can't use this evidence to support our case.
Bother.
Hold it!
Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room? That's right. After the broker fell to the floor, she started walking over.
Over where exactly?
In the direction of the storeroom door, to where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated, and then the girl dropped her gun through the peephole in the door on the side of my door.
But why on earth would she do such a thing?
I couldn't tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself from the murder weapon. Without thinking, I went to pick it up. I suppose I was worried about just leaving it there in case any more tragedies took place. So it was you, in fact, who took the third gun from the scene of the crime. Yes, it was yours truly. I left the clear up to my lackeys and left.
clear up. We made a bit of mess on the counter, so Mr. Whistle and Flute here told us to tidy up.
He thinks he got bloomin' mum sometimes.
Well, I was paying you enough, by God. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? You're like a...
Correct.
You're like a bull at the gate, aren't you? Oh shit. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Sirs. Gentlemen.
Something wrong, Sunshine? Is this police brutality? This is something that always happens in Britain.
That should be my line. Not the police brutality part, but what is it, Sunshine part. You do realize you were just violently shaking Mr. Skulkin.
Blimey, he's a bit of a hooligan, ain't he?
What was going on just now?
You saw him. He grabbed the whistle. With the blazers, he said. Then you mentioned the third gun when he got you down to the station.
And why didn't you?
Gods, we know nothing about it. What was that flaming peephole in the door?
Sorry about that. You get me prone to losing my rag sometimes. Not hurt, are you?
Oh, blimey. See the way he's looking at me. I'm telling you, this D's giving me the willies.
That was strange. The inspector doesn't normally get quite as worked up as that. He wouldn't normally grab somebody.
No, it wasn't like Gregsy at all. He's normally all sweet and light no matter what you say to him.
Yes, well, I think you might be a special case, Iris.
Well, anyway, that was definitely out of character.
Down a day's work. My lord, requesting lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination.
Explain yourself, counsel.
I have the result of the test that was altered earlier, my lord.
Ah, the blood on the accused's overcoat.
Thank you, counsel. Officer, very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel?
No, my lord.
Well, there you have it.
The report, please, Inspector.
Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Dean Lestrade.
Whose blood?
From the extent of the stains, it would appear that they were the result of spattering following a gunshot wound.
Whose?
End of report.
Goodness me, you really rushed through that one.
See? What did I tell you?
Objection.
No! The blood on that overcoat is not Mr. Windibank's!
What on earth makes you say that, counsel?
The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited at Windibank's, Mr. McGilded had fatally stabbed Mr. Mason Milverton. So the blood on that overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker from the omnibus case.
Objection.
Well, the dead cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Japanese friend? Sorry? 2 months ago in this very courtroom, did you not argue fervently for Mr. McGilded's innocence? And yet now that man is dead. You branded him as a murderer. She did the skulking arm pose. Oh, the little arm shimmy, yeah. You branded him as a murderer. Your conduct shatters any shred of respect you may have earned yourself in this country. Well, with all due respect, fuck you, Van Zeeks. I had called it a bally grace. Treachery, that's what it is. How do I determine whether blood on the coat 2 months ago or not? Even the stereoscope couldn't help the answer to that problem pop out. It can't be done. But, we used Mr. Sholmes' formulated...
Mr. Sholmes is a detective, not a chemist. Would you put such faith in the chemical formula devised by me? For example, if I'm a communications officer. I held a pearl skill starving boy and he ran away crying.
Herlock Sholmes is barely more than a figment of the public's imagination. His name carries no weight in this courtroom. No weight at all. How could you say that? Victory is sweet indeed. This proves that my testimony is the whole truth from start to finish.
How do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir?
As the witnesses states, the accused coat was spattered with the blood of the victim. I only believe one particular part of the evidence, even though everything else is damning. The only way Mr. McGraden could have possibly known the fact is if he saw it. In other words, his testimony is solid and the conclusion is singular. Shut it out. It was the accused who shot the victim in the case. Shut up, shut up, shut up. That is the whole truth. Stop it. Stop it at once. End the trial. Watch him. Look, he's falling. End the trial. End it. End it. My lord. It has been a long battle with this one, but this old warhorse has something to say now, if you please.
Mr. Foreman.
As of this moment, sir, the squadron has reached its final decision. Yet another final decision. Ready, men? All for one now.
Sir!
Guilty.
Guilty.
Another one of your
Guilty.
fucking peanut gallery bullshits.
Guilty.
You need defendants like me. You need defendants like me. So y'all can get on your fucking little gavels and make me the bad guy. Chun-Li.
Well, it appears the ladies and gentlemen have reached a verdict.
One I will shoot down. Only 1/2 hour left. The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt you make at unpicking the juror's decision being equally successful. What? I don't believe it. After I've come so far. How is it all unraveling on me so far? How very distressing. To be held in such low self-esteem. To be held in such low esteem. Oh man. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Nar?
Officer, you've delivered the report now. That will be all, thank you.
It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruhodo, that scientific truths are determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind. I know that voice. An unconvincing accent. Am I going mad? Ah! Mr. Sholmes!
What? What is the meaning of this? Order, order, order.
What business do you have here, detective? The last I heard from you, you were recuperating in office. Yeah, he looks really dashing in that outfit. Look at this, like, kind of like, almost like bailiff outfit. And that mustache, he really pulls it off well. Let's see. As well I would, had I not been set upon an errand. What errand?
Early, it's really you. You're awake at last.
Yes, good day, Iris. It appears to be rather late to rise. My apologies. Now, my lord, if you will humor me.
In what manner, sir?
I have something of great importance I wish to give to the young lawyer over here. I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind as to spare us the time?
What say you to this, Lord Van Zeeks?
This trial has taken many hours of the court's time, having spent so long already.
Exactly, having spent so long, we don't want to go wasting any more precious time.
As I was saying, having spent so long already, it seemed churlish to deny the defense a mere 5 minutes.
Very well then, counsel. You have 5 minutes.
My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, are you alright now? Alright, I'm all wrong. Sorry? I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I asked the judge for 5 minutes. But I fear may even prove too much for me. Pray forgive me should I pass out. Let's make this discussion as short as possible.
Hurley, this place is full of idiots. None of them see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is.
Ah, well, that concoction of mine was really just a bit of sport to assist me in my investigations. I never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal by the scientific community. An oversight on my part. Right. Modesty. Surely not. Modesty. Surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. What's that? A lavender futoshiki wrapping. A leaving present from Miss Susato. From Miss Susato? If possible, matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. Miss Susato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew that the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhanded. And that you, Mr. Naruhodo, fighting fair as you are, won't to do. Would you find yourself in considerable peril? At the very moment of crisis, you are to be given this small parcel. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving present from Susato-san. Oh, a leaving present from Susato-san. Whatever could this be? What is this?
Oh, it's the machine I made.
Ah. Ah, it's this. What is it? It's the cat flap-o-matic. The cat flap-o-matic. It can make a cat flap like Waggy in seconds.
What's Susie up to?
Miss Susato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. What? Didn't she say something like that? Ah, this. No, I'm actually really poopy. That's extremely flattering. I'm sorry to say, but I'm the worst. The complete failure. Oh. Man, eavesdropping, dropping eaves. Whatever did she mean by that, Mr. Holmes? That night, when you left the Windibanks in pursuit of thieves. Miss Susato made use of the contraption for a certain purpose. I have to leave early because me and my mother are gonna start playing it together. Oh, that's really awesome. I think I might end up heading out soon as well. I don't have too much on my docket, so it's one of those things where I'm starting to get a bit on the tired side, so I feel like maybe I'll give it like a good, maybe at least a couple moments by the time I start getting to like a decision or like a kind of like good way to cut. So, what's it called? I should probably be a little bit more time, like, by the time it's all finished. There's a good chunk left, so it is going to be really exciting. I hope that you guys have fun, and I'm probably not going to do too much more, so you don't have to worry. Hope you have a good time. See ya. Bye. Peace. Have a good time. Is that your answer? Not at all cryptic then. Susato-san used this cat flap-o-matic that night. But why? Your 5 minutes is over. We're out of time already. I'm grateful for you for affording us that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, Detective. After all, the die is cast. Emphasis on the die part. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous in their leadings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder... Mr. Naruhodo! Yes? The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me. I need to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end badly. My lord, the defense requests a further cross-examination. I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to head off. Let's see. Let us save over here. Get that going. Dang, what's it called? I still have more game left. I think I promised, I think when I was announcing it earlier, I was like, oh man, like I should be done today. And it's like, no, you have quite a bit left. Who knows if I'll be able to get more of it done. It was so eventful. There's so much going on. It's so hectic. But yeah. It's been really nice. I'm super tired, so I'll probably be heading off a bit early. But until next time, which is Sunday, I'm going to be continuing with, what's it called? Final Fantasy. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm going to poke my beauty mark, poke the mic, and send y'all off with some positive vibes. Some good sensations as you come off. Until next time, until this Sunday, bye everyone.